Hello, everybody. Welcome to Truth Teller Tales and Labor of Love 8. How are you, Tricia?
I'm really good. And it's so exciting right now. The news is just off the charts. I think our whole movement is doing the happy
Ooh,
dance, and
yes, we're all
news,
moving in the right direction.
who knows what's going to happen
It's,
by the time this airs in 2 days.
I know this is so exciting. So what a time to be alive. And we've had so many really cool guests, and I hope everybody will go back and look, because everybody's story is so unique and everybody brings something unique to the table, right, in this movement. And today is no different, and I told them before we started, I was just so excited to be interviewing these ladies together because I've been able to interview one, and the other one I got to speak to on the phone, and they both are just a wealth of information, and they're just healers in so many different ways, and they're patriots, and I'm so excited to have them on. I want to first bring on Michelle. It's so awesome to have you here. Hi, Michelle. And Melanie, woo! It's a power to of you guys. Yay. Thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. I see Michelle's kitty
I
back
was going
there
to say we have 3
too.
guests tonight.
Hi,
You're right.
pretty.
It has to make
People.
a appearance.
Oh,
Mine did not
two.
want to come in. I asked him if he wanted to come in before I came up here, and I'm like, all right, I guess you're stuck outside for the next hour to 2 hours,
Oh,
whatever.
ah. Well, Melanie, since you're just started talking, I just want to we all want to hear kind of what you're doing now. If people want to know an in-depth story, I interviewed you on Truth Teller Tales, and I need to interview Michelle too. But I, you know, I knew then when interviewing you that you're just, oh my gosh, your story is so incredible, and y- you've done so many things in incredible, I mean, incredible things. And so just tell us what you're doing now.
These days, it's having my own show. And we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, which is like crazy to me.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, it's me and my best friend Gina. We've been best friends for about 30 years now. And we have this wonderful show called The Why of It All. And we talk about the healing journey. We talk about inspiring stories. It's a very uplifting show. And we're trying to bring in guests who have gone through something truly trying, real school of hard knocks kind of stories, and have made their way through their healing journey, or maybe they're still in it, but they've come out on the other side to the extent that they have found a way to take their experience and their own reference points and use it to give back to humanity in some beautiful way, shape, and form. So we bring on guests like that. And then when we're not doing that, it's me and Gina just hanging out, just talking to each other, and sort of the audience is following along with me and Gina's individual healing journeys. And we
Mm.
kind of bear all, there's no secrets. It's a very raw, very authentic, very real kind of conversation. Sometimes we're laughing, sometimes Gina's crying. She cries a lot. A lot of times it's happy cries, though, so it kind of balances
Oh,
out. But we really go deep. We go really, really deep. And it's sort of the culmination of a very divinely inspired conversation that Gina and I had a year ago after 30 years of deep, meaningful, inspiring conversations between the two of us. And God came in
hmm,
one night a year ago and said, share it with the world. And we
yeah,
said, okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And so here we are. And it took a while to, figure it out because this is not intuitive. Like podcasting is not, it's not an intuitive thing. So it took a while to kind of get going, but we're feeling good now. We've got our rhythm and we've figured out our
Great.
style, and it's great. We're having a wonderful time.
And
Well,
when
happy
is it
1 year.
on? And-
We're Wednesdays. I am tinkering with the time. They are all pre-recorded. Gina and I live 2 hours away from each other, and she is a single mom with a full-time job. So the best we can do is she comes into town every 2 to 3 weeks, and we hammer out 2 to 3 episodes at a time on a weekend. The episodes are released Wednesdays. On Rumble right now, we're doing 4 p.m. So, but we're on all the major platforms. It's a slightly different time frames, and I'm kind of playing with it to see what gets the most traction. But for right now, for those of us who are watching on Rumble, which is probably most of your audience, it's 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. And we just had a new episode release yesterday. That's freaking awesome. And we brought on this woman. Her name is Darcy Birch, and her story is just incredible. Absolutely incredible story. So she was a great guest for us to have on.
Was this past Wednesday or this coming Wednesday?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Yeah. So
I'll make sure to have all the details in the description, so we can, because I want everybody to be able to click on that and see that. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
To be able to do that with your best friend of all these years, and I'll show the picture of the two of you here in just a little bit. And so Michele, yay! I'm so happy you're back.
Catastrophic failure of my computer. So it overheats when I'm on things like this. So I'm using my phone. So hopefully I'll be able to hear and all that stuff.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, we definitely hear you. So are you good to just kind of give a brief summary of what you're doing now?
Yes. So I'm actually what I call a naturopathic chiropractor. So my license is in chiropractic, and I do a lot of naturopathic work. I work a lot with nutrition, herbs, and homeopathy, and such. And so I'm just one of my philosophies is, it's kind of the teach a man to fish thing. It's really about educating people about how to be healthy, how to take care of themselves. Because they shouldn't have to come in to see me. I can set them up and organize their bodies and get rid of old stuff and set them up. But it's like, if they don't continue and they don't understand what their particular body needs, that they're not going to be able to maintain health. So I've always been about educating people. So from the beginning, I mean, I was brought up holistically. So even when I was in elementary school and all that, I used to tell people with the things that I knew. I sounded like a crazy person. But what's wonderful right now is that we have a movement that has awakened a lot of people to things that I used to tell people that made them, glaze over. So it's kind of a fun time to just kind of, now I can just kind of vomit all my information on people and most of it people are already like tuned into. So it's actually this has become a really fun time to do what I do. And it's going to be even more fun as RFK Jr. keeps unleashing some great policies.
God, that's
I'm
so
loving
nice,
the inverted pyramid being put back.
Right?
When I was in my practice, this was I opened my practice back in 2010. I guess I'll talk about that a little later, but one of the most frustrating things in the world was feeling like I'm sharing all this information that we are now seeing finally going mainstream. But this was over a decade ago. And sometimes I just felt like I was swimming upstream.
Yeah.
So how wonderful to be in practice right now. And
it's the right time.
Only more and more receptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and Michele, you explained to me and that it's a different technique of chiropractic medicine, and it's a new training that you went through, and there's very few of you with this training and philosophy across the country. Is that correct?
That is correct. So a lot of people in this movement know Dr. Craig, IET. He's also a chiropractor. He went through a major health upheaval. He would be a great person to interview, by the way. He went through a major upheaval in his health, and in pursuit of the answer and the solution, he came across a chiropractor who was doing a specific technique in the upper cervical spine, so the first two vertebrae in the neck. And there's a lot of techniques that already address that, but it was the method by which he was assessing, which was a dynamic assessment. Most upper cervical people assess based on an X-ray, which is a static assessment and probably is correct the first time. But the idea is that you correct the issue, not that you keep pounding on the same issue. And so with this dynamic check, you're able to actually chase out all of the layers of trauma that you've received to your upper cervical spine. And in doing so, you also reset each layer. So after, I could explain it more if you're really interested, but at each layer of trauma you remove, you are also allowing the body to decompensate for that trauma. So there's compensations on top of compensations on top of compensations. And so anyways, there's Dr. Craig just started teaching it in August. So I literally changed my entire practice to incorporate this recently, and I'm still making a lot of changes, but I am seeing unbelievable results. I'm hearing, just people just come in and just say, like, I've been seeing chiropractor for years and one adjustment and it's like completely different. So I'm very excited about it. Yeah, it's a very exciting thing. There's only, I believe only 8 people in the US doing this.
Wow.
And then there's one person actually in Australia doing it. So hopefully we're going to spread the word and get more people, because 8 people can't handle everybody. Everyone who needs this. Yeah.
Michele, where are you practicing?
I'm in Manhattan Beach, Los Angeles area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have tried a few like chiropractors over the years as well, and I was never comfortable or satisfied. And the crack, it freaked me out. And the last one I went to was like, I'm not into that. I tense up every time it's coming. I never could understand that I had to go like 2 and 3 times a week. And if you didn't, then so.
Yeah, if you set the spine properly, like remove the trauma, and the most detrimental place to have any injury is going to be in the upper cervicals, because you're protecting the brainstem, which is the connector between the brain, which controls and coordinates every function in your body.
Right.
And that's why if you break your neck up there, most likely you're quadriplegic. So it's an important center, and it's so important that there's a very, very unique way that those 2 vertebrae are together, sit together. Mm-hmm. And they protect that area. And so what happens is you do these adjustments and you might get part of it, but you don't get the dynamic of it. And so that's what's different about this technique, is you're actually adjusting on the dynamic of the way those joints sit, and you're actually setting it. And when you remove one trauma, when you adjust it, it's done. So if you've had 5 upper cervical traumas in your life, you need 5 adjustments. And that's amazing to me, because I've been a chiropractor for a long time, and I'm like, why do I have to keep adjusting the same thing? Why does it keep coming back?
That's fascinating. And so that's why it reminded me, because I know, Melanie, that you were an acupuncturist. And so it's very similar, that sort of technique and mind philosophy, isn't it?
They are, and acupuncture and chiropractic medicine are very compatible, very compatible. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was years ago, I know, but obviously the people that came to see you got it and understood what you were doing, and obviously benefited from all of that, what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I loved being in practice. It was an extraordinary thing to. Let me put it this way. I never got anything but the hardest cases because nobody picks acupuncture. 10 to 15 years ago, nobody was choosing acupuncture as a first resort, right? Yeah. It was the people who were desperate, who'd tried literally everything else. And so it was incredibly fulfilling and rewarding and satisfying to have somebody come in who was like, this is it. This is my last shot. After this, it's surgery or something.
Those are the best patients. They're the best patients.
They're so willing. But it was just so rewarding to have somebody like that come in who had tried everything, and they were at maximum level of frustration and jadedness, and to be able to give that person relief, sometimes instant relief. Sometimes walk in the
Oh,
door feeling one way and walk out the door completely different. Sometimes healed in one treatment, like healed, like don't need to come back again kind of thing. Incredibly rewarding.
What now? So,
Um,
Melanie, for those that don't know you, how for what you were doing and being very fulfilled at doing that and having a lot of success, how did you go from transitioning out of that?
I had my daughter.
Oh,
I knew when I was 12 years old that I wanted to be a full-time mom. It literally, that's what I wanted to do with my life. My mother was a stay-at-home mom when all of my friends, as when I was a child, all of their moms worked. And it meant something to me. It meant so much to me that my mom was there with me. And then even when I started school, she was always there when I got home. And just that was something that was important to me as a kid. And I knew that when I grew up and I had my own child, I wanted that for my own child. So I treated patients until about 12 hours before she was born.
yeah.
And she was a home birth. So, and I had a home-based practice in the second iteration of my practice. I had moved, and in the new location, I'd started a home-based business. And so I was like literally treating patients until right before she was born. Um, and
That's
it was
wild.
bittersweet. I will say this. It was bittersweet walking away from that practice, and it brought me a lot of joy. And it was a lot of hard work building to the point that I'd gotten it to where I was treating 50 patients a week. When I had an actual brick and mortar facility, I had 3 rooms and I was treating 3 patients at a time. I had this beautiful system going, and it was hard to walk away from that, but I walked straight into my dream job. So, you know, it was wonderful, and it was the right choice for me. Um, there was also, and I wish Michelle was on for this part because she's going to resonate with this, but there was
She's been.
also,
Here she comes.
here she
Here
goes.
she is.
Okay, good. I wanted Michelle to hear this part. Um, there was also, though, at that time, a decade and more ago, people weren't awake. People didn't understand that the food pyramid was upside down. They didn't understand how to take care of themselves. And so when I say it felt like I was swimming upstream a lot, it really did. And there was a lot of patients whose perspective was, I'm going to show up and give you money and you're going to fix my problems for me, but they wouldn't take responsibility for their own well-being. Now, the patients who
Right.
did, the patients who were like, tell me what I need to do and I'll do whatever you say, and they have incredible success rates there. They were a joy to work with. But at the time, I felt like the outlier. I felt like, it was difficult to undo all of the incorrect programming that people were just stuck in
Yeah.
people's brains, and telling them, no, I want you to cut the carbs and start eating more saturated fats. And they're like, huh? And it just didn't go in for a lot of people. So, God, Michelle, I really wish I was like, if things had been flip flopped and now is when I was going to be in practice, man, that would have just be something. But
yeah, but
after my
you played
daughter
a
got,
part.
I
You played a
did,
part
I
in waking
did.
people up.
And I changed a lot of lives back then. I've been retired for 10 years now, and I still have patients email me and call me and say, we miss you so much. And what do you think about this? And yeah, life life has a way of steering us where we're supposed to go, though. And after my daughter got old enough to go to school, I did look into starting over and opening my practice again. And unfortunately, the Texas Medical Board had other ideas. And they wanted me to go back to school, which, I mean, at that point, I'd been retired for 7 years. So I probably should have had some remedial education, but that just wasn't in the cards for me with raising a child and all. Um, and now it feels like having a podcast where what we're talking about is healing, and I'm sharing the things that I know, and I'm bringing in lots of other people for lots of different perspectives. Perhaps this is God's way of allowing me to have a greater reach than what I would have with an in-person physical practice. I don't know. We'll
A-
see where it goes.
abs- Absolutely. And just so that you know, when um, Dr. Michelle, when you're not talking, I'm going to mute you because there seems to be an echo.
We're getting an
No,
So
echo.
I'll just mute. Yeah, that's okay.
sorry.
So, but totally fine. So we'll start with Melanie, and because what we want to spend a little bit of time with each of you, hearing about your lives, because we want to get to know you and want the audience to get to know you. So, Melanie, we'll start with you.
Ellen,
Tell us.
you still got an echo. You got to mute her.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm
okay, I just did.
Okay.
So tell us about your childhood, and we have some pictures and things to go along with you telling us about your childhood and just about you growing up.
Yeah. So, when I talk about healing journey on my show, it starts in childhood. I grew up in Central Texas. I'm born and raised in Austin. Proud to say that I'm from Austin since before Austin got too weird. Back when it was cool
Oh,
weird.
yeah,
Now it's just gross weird. Um,
yeah.
but born and raised in Austin, I have a blessed to have been born into an incredible family, an incredible, loving, supportive. I mean, I have to say, going through my life and all the things that I have been through in terms of trauma and chronic disease and all these different things that I've been dealing with, love is never something that's been an issue for me because I grew
Oh,
up knowing what unconditional love felt like. It was an incredible blessing.
oh.
There we
So,
are. And I picked this picture because 80s hair
The
is
hair.
just the
The
greatest.
hair.
It's just the greatest. So that's me in red and my little sister in whatever mix of colors she's got there. And she's a couple years younger than me. We have been best friends. I have my best friend that I'm not born into the same family with, but my sister is my other best friend. So we have just always been so close as a family. I
so
remember
Just
that
tell
dress
me.
too.
did we all have the same brick fireplace and then the wallpaper?
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 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 Um,
Yes. Yeah, no, this brick wall,
Yes,
this brick is
that same
exactly, we
brick.
had it in our house too.
yes.
Wow.
And my mother was a hairstylist. And I'll never forget, like this
Cool.
haircut for me right here. I have curly hair naturally. She permed my curly hair. Like, what? Why? But that's just what you did back then.
That's what you did.
It's just what you did. So,
Oh my gosh,
amazing
so
family
cute.
that I was born into. But for some reason, and I still to this day am not entirely certain why. I've done a lot of introspection. I've done past life regressions. I've done all kinds of random things to try to understand myself better. But I was an incredibly insecure child. Very, very, very insecure. Not in regards to my family, of course. They were my safe place. It was in regards to
Hmm.
peers. And um, it got to the point where I was so pathologically shy and insecure all through my whole childhood that right around the age of 12 or so, my parents thought, okay, and this is in the 80s. Well, I guess that would have been the early 90s, but my parents were like, okay, there's two things we could try. We can either put her into therapy, which of course, like people that was not a common thing back then, right? Especially not for kids.
Hmm.
We can either put her into therapy or we can get her a horse, get her into some kind of sport, some kind of competition, and hopefully she'll build some confidence with that. Because they tried to put me in athletics, they tried to put me on different clubs and like get me out with people. And it was also just too terrifying for me. So thankfully, they went the horse route first. And that did the trick for the most part at that stage of my life. So I started riding I started riding when I was about 6, but they got me my first horse when I was 12. This was actually the third horse that we had. So we had 3 as a family. And I started showing horses. And this picture here,
Wow.
I want to say that's probably the Region 9 championship, but on that horse, I ended up going top 10 at youth nationals when I was 18 years old. And
Wow.
that process of competing, and in my case, what was important about it is I never felt like I was competing against the other horses and the other riders. I was competing against my
Mhm.
own best ride. And that was important to me. And so being able to go through that process really did help to build confidence for me.
Yeah.
It didn't
You can even see it
necessarily,
here.
yeah, look at him. He's smiling too. His name was Hollywood. He was like the Farrah Fawcett of the horse world, just
Yeah.
stunningly gorgeous, which was actually a problem in the show ring sometimes because he was so stunning and so eye-catching that all the judges were watching me the whole time. So if I made any mistake at all, they caught it every time. Whereas if you're
That's
just riding a
fascinating.
bay or like a chestnut or something and you just look like all the other horses, it's easier to like squeak by and not have your mistakes noticed.
So it's interesting,
Fascinating.
growing up in Texas that you were writing English in a more of a Western.
I had a Western horse too. I did it
Yeah.
all.
Okay. Okay.
I rode many different styles. That was country English pleasure. I rode Western pleasure on one of the other horses. We had a hunt seat horse. Native costume was my favorite. That's where you're dressed up like you're in this big flashy glitz and glamoury costume because these were Arabians and half Arabians. And so the native costume class, it's meant to look like you're dressed as a shiny Bedouin galloping across the Egyptian
Yeah.
sands, or it's very flashy. I did ladies English side saddle and all kinds of fun stuff, but
Wow,
Wow.
you did a lot. What
it
age
was a
did you
huge
start?
part of my life. It was a huge part of my life. I mean, I went to school and then went straight home and
See,
trained.
so I grew up in Corpus Christi.
Oh,
It's
cool.
funny you mentioned Farrah Fawcett because Farrah Fawcett was from Corpus Christi. And so
Yeah.
I was shy, and my parents got me my first horse when I was in 5th grade. So I was so much like you,
Yeah.
where I didn't I had a hard I was really small and like so I got picked on a lot. And so
Yeah.
the barn was my sanctuary. My horses
Yes.
were my life. Every day when I got out of school, out to the barn until till it was dark. And then Saturday and Sunday, sun up to sundown, I was
Sun up
out
to
at the barn
sundown. Yep.
for years.
And now we understand that horses are they are different from other animals. And now
Oh, yeah.
everybody's heard of equine therapy and everything. It's because these are incredible sentient creatures that truly they have a presence that is truly healing. Well, back then my parents were just thinking, oh, it's the competition and the responsibility that'll build a confidence. But
It's that,
no, it was the
that,
healing energy of these
yeah,
incredible creatures.
they're incredible.
So
Yeah.
I remember going out to the barn. We lived on 5 acres just outside of Austin, and a barn and an arena and everything in the backyard. And I would when I was having a rough feeling day, I would go out to the barn and just snuggle with them, and I would just
Mhm.
cry my eyes out and hold them, and it was like they were hugging me back, and it was really profoundly supportive for me at that stage of my life. Well, then of course, eventually I grow up and I leave
Mhm.
home and I can't take the horses with me.
Mhm.
And so I'm out on my own now. And although I had built confidence enough to tackle an undergrad and then go to acupuncture school and get a graduate degree and then start my own practice and do all of that and be very successful, I hadn't. I still had all the deep inner wounds from my childhood. And around mid to late 20s or so, out of sort of desperation, I just started reaching for, I had my faith, but I didn't have tools so much so. And I don't know how to explain it other than I felt like I needed to explore more. And so I really started traveling all over the country, taking workshops and seminars of all kinds of different perspectives on spirituality and healing and how to identify what the limitation programs running within me were. What it was beyond they were beyond conscious thoughts. It's not like I was actively doing negative self-talk and thinking horrible things about myself. It was all buried very deep. But over the course of the next 20-25 years or so, I don't math, I think that adds up. Um, I gathered a lot of tools. And I I've gotten to a point now where I really feel like I understand myself. I understand most of why I felt the way I did as a child. It was mostly misinterpretations of things because, and here's where, we can move the conversation, and how did I end up into this truth community?
Yeah.
As a highly sensitive child, I was in an anxious state, in a nervous system dysregulated state. I built up the superpower of hypervigilance. So I could read everyone's body language everywhere I went, the tiniest little facial movements. And so I was perceiving what everyone else around me was feeling and misinterpreting it as what they were feeling about me and internalizing it.
Mhm.
So I ended up
Interesting.
judging myself very harshly for things that, in hindsight, probably had nothing to do with me. There were
Yeah.
several rejections as a child where friends of mine were like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore because I've met this other person and they're my new best friend. Well, that's just kids being kids. And it really didn't have anything to do with me, but I made it
Right.
about me.
Of course.
So
Yes.
Do you think you could be?
yes, you have to behave. So along the way, and we talked about this, Ellen, on your show when we had our interview. Along the way, there were other traumas involved. There were sexual assaults, things like that. When I shortly after my husband and I got married, we lost our first child. There was that. That was a big one, and all of these cumulative traumas over the years, the self-inflicted ones and the experienced ones, eventually got to the point where a little more than a decade ago, my nervous system just went absolutely freaking haywire. I also contracted Lyme around the same time. So that was sort of just like just
Yeah.
adding more fuel to the fire. And I spent a decade in severe debilitating chronic pain that no amount of acupuncture, no amount of chiropractic, no amount of treating even the Lyme could ever make any difference in. Nothing I did, all of the testing, all of the treatments, all of the therapies, all of the supplements, none of it worked until about a year ago, right around the same time Gina and I started the podcast. I finally had the divine appointment that brought to my attention how dysregulated my nervous system was. Like, I understood there was traumas and I understood that there was anxiety, but I didn't really understand limbic impairment. I didn't understand the physiological aspects of nervous system dysregulation. And once I did, and I had the right person brought into my experience, is a truly divine appointment. It was extraordinary the way it all came together. Within 2 weeks of addressing the limbic system, addressing my nervous system dysregulation, and having that be the thing I was focused on instead of just focusing on the emotional components and just clearing the beliefs and just dealing with the Lyme and all these different things, all
Hmm.
of a sudden I felt better than I'd felt in a decade. And
Wow.
what's amazing is, now we have this show and I've got all the cumulative tools from like essentially what is like at least 25 years worth of trying everything, seeking, reading, taking workshops, seeing providers, learning, consuming all this information, including,
Yeah.
graduate school, getting a getting a license in traditional Chinese medicine, and everything I learned after I had my practice doing all of my postgraduate study in functional nutrition and all of these things. And I have all these tools on my tool belt now as the healthiest version of me and the reference points I
Mhm.
gathered from all of that history. And that's what I'm bringing to the table on this show.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's,
awesome. Yeah,
so I
of course,
truly
we all
believe that it all nothing happens to us, everything happens for us. And I'm so,
always.
as sucky as it was going through all of
Hmm.
that, as sucky as it was, I'm so grateful that I always had the support of my incredibly loving family and wonderful friends, and that I have the reference points I have to be
Yep.
what I truly feel is the path that has been laid out before me. And I don't know where it's going, but I'm grateful to
Yeah.
have the reference points that I have so that I can contribute to humanity in whatever way God intends for me.
Well, I think
Absolutely.
you better buckle up and be ready. 'Cause there'll be a
Yes.
lot of people that are
So
gonna need you.
Yep.
it's very exciting. And you know what I've learned on this journey too of interviewing so many people is all of our reference points have to happen to make us where we are
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why
Yeah.
our stories are so brilliant. You know, they all lead up to where we are.
Yeah.
So a couple other things I just want to touch on with you, Melanie. A couple pictures I just want to share. Um, Tell us about that.
So the reason I wanted to throw this one in here is because that's me in my office. That was the after I had gone kind of climbed through the ranks of my practice. I'd worked out of several chiropractic offices. This is when I finally opened my own practice.
Oh,
And
so sweet.
the reason this came up for me is because yesterday when I was looking through my pictures, at the same time, I'm just overjoyed with the new dietary guidelines that RFK Jr. and HHS have just released. I'm overjoyed for the reasons we talked about
Yeah.
earlier, because at this moment in time when this picture was taken, I knew all of that. I was teaching my
Mhm.
patients every single day that the food pyramid was upside down. And some of them would look at me cross-eyed, and some of them would be like, "Wow, that makes so much sense, and you're right, I feel so much better." But it was really like swimming upstream, trying to teach people that everything that they've learned up to this point is the opposite of the truth.
Yeah, that would be really
and
hard then to do that.
and praying every day, praying that someday this information that I knew, that guys, it's been available. This information has been available for decades, but the studies
Right.
were suppressed, and
Yep.
studies wouldn't get published. And the only way you could know about it is if you either came to a practitioner like me who had taken research methodology and I understood how to read a bullshit study and say, what? This study is garbage. This doesn't make any sense. But this study, okay, I really like the parameters of this study. And then I come to that conclusion. If you didn't meet someone like me, or if you weren't someone who'd been educated on how to read a study properly, you'd have no way of
Right.
knowing. And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
what is happening right now to me is literally a dream come true, with this
Yeah.
information finally becoming mainstream and widespread. And I
Yep.
mean, the greatest thing about it, actually, in terms of current events and everything that's happening, is there really wasn't any pushback. At least not that I
Yeah.
saw. I didn't
I
see
know.
anybody on X or on an Instagram saying this is bullshit. We should all just be eating, seed oils and whatever. Bread is the
Yeah.
greatest.
Right.
Like there wasn't any pushback, and the reason I believe is because so many people have figured it out by now.
Yes,
Like,
they planted the
we've made
seeds.
our way
Yes.
there, so it was sort of a little bit of a hum-ho. I mean, for me, it was a reason to celebrate. For most of us in this movement, it was a reason to celebrate. For like mass population, they're like, yeah, I know, we kind of already figured that out, and that is a wonderful thing.
It really is.
Hmm.
It's so awesome to be
Yeah.
alive right now. And so the last couple that I just want to show, so this is
Oh,
you and your
that's my baby.
daughter.
That's my
I mean,
baby.
what a spectacular picture. And then the three of you together in front of barn doors, of course.
I love it. I love it. That was a
Yeah.
recent photo shoot we did actually in the fall. That was great.
What a
Um,
wonderful family. Really
yeah,
wonderful. I mean, uh, and you have been through a lot, and some of it you got in your own head with it. Did it? Your mind kind of took over, and but then the other things has happened to you, and be able to overcome all of it. And as you said, all those reference points are
yeah,
leading you to exactly to today, and you have such an incredible tool belt. I mean,
right.
serious. And
And
so does Michelle. Michelle also has this
yeah.
incredible tool belt of everything. And so I want to unmute you. And Michelle, I mean, you please start to tell us your story because I just want to hear about you.
Well, amazing story, Melanie, by the way. And it's obvious that all of that knowledge is culminating into something really big. It already has. If you have a show and people are listening to this, they're already getting this information. So don't doubt for a second that it's all going to make sense one day. That's kind of what happened. That's actually kind of where my story starts. My story is kind of interesting. I was born in the 60s. I'm not a spring chicken, where it was absolutely unheard of to not vaccinate your children, even though the vaccination schedule was much smaller. My parents immigrated to this country from France. My sister, who's older than me, they had her. My mom was pregnant with her when they came here, and so she was made in France, born in America. And and then a couple years later, my mom was pregnant with me. Now, my sister was a stunning baby. Like, not every baby is like, oh my God, for me, anyways. She was absolutely beautiful. And anyways, they had my sister in a stroller. They were in the market at the time. My mother was noticeably pregnant. And they were speaking French, because that's what they spoke. And a woman who actually turned out to be a Belgian woman heard them speaking and saw my sister and went, oh, in French, that was gawking over my sister, and almost immediately looked at my parents and said, "You're not going to vaccinate, are you?" And they're like, oh, how it's almost like, today it's even worse, but it's almost like, how dare you? It's like an insult to think that you're not going to vaccinate your children, right? And my parents go, "Of course we are." And she says, no, you shouldn't vaccinate. She had read a book that was written by, and I don't even think it was a doctor, but it was someone in Austria at the turn of the century. And he had written about vaccines and how everything got worse when the vaccines came out. And he was talking about natural healing, using food for healing, using cold water for infections. It was really interesting. But anyways, my mom agreed to meet up with her after that encounter, and the woman gave her the book. And she read the book and devoured it. Just went, oh my God, changed everything in the house. My dad tells the story today. It's very funny. Like, she threw away everything from the kitchen and started all over. And anyway, so when I was born, I was not vaccinated. Totally unheard of.
Wow.
And so I am a pure blood, never been vaccinated. So obviously when COVID came along, duh, it's a no-brainer for me. But that being said, they followed a very holistic path of healing and health. When I was growing up, I never took antibiotics. I never was given cold medicine. I may have had like an ear infection and got drops in my ears, but never screwed my body up with any of that stuff until later. And so I remember throughout elementary school, I really believed it. Like, I understood it. My mother would tell me about it. She was so ahead of everybody. It was unbelievable. And so I started talking to people about it. And I remember there were some friends that I had whose parents were doctors, and they thought I was dangerous. But anyways, I swore up and down, like, you shouldn't get vaccinated. You shouldn't take all this stuff. I was actually shocked, because whenever I always learned that a fever is actually a really good response to killing whatever is trying to get you or impacting you. And so what my parents used to do when I would have too high of a fever is they would sit me in the sink in a bath of cold water with ice cubes. so that it would bring my fever down a little bit, but like, it wasn't my hands and feet getting the cold, so it wouldn't shock my body. And then they would I don't know how great this was, but they would rubbing alcohol on my belly, because the aftermath of that heats you up. And then they'd like wrap me up, put me in bed, and like make me sleep it off. And inevitably I would like burn the fever through, and the next day I'd be like, oh, let's go, right? I mean, that is how it works. When you break a fever, that's when you actually feel great. So
I remember my parents doing that.
Yeah,
with the rubbing
it's an older
alcohol in
thing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go.
Oh, that's great.
This was actually my first birthday. And so to the left is my mom, then there's my dad, that awesome haircut, and that's my sister to the right.
They bought you champagne?
The champagne was not for me. That was for the adults to deal with a bunch of kids.
I was like, great parents.
I know. Yeah, so
Oh.
that was actually, I think that might have been before I turned 1. That was yeah, the famous picture of my family.
I love it. I
Beautiful.
love the bow right on the top
I
of the
know,
head.
bigger than my head. And of course, this is
This
it. This is the almost every kid has a picture of them with cake on their face on their first birthday, I
Yeah.
would think.
is a
So
big cake.
that was a big cake. There were a lot of people there, apparently. The picture in the back is actually of my sister. She's a beautiful baby.
Oh, oh, very cute.
I
Yeah.
So
think you
cute.
were a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you. I always thought my sister was cuter, though. She was blonde hair, blue eyes, go figure.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
That's so interesting. So,
yeah.
so this one picture that you said, it just cracked me up. Being
Oh,
this was the Flintstones car that you were
this
in.
was some kind of so when I was 6, my dad's family had moved to Montreal from Morocco. So he actually is originally from Morocco, the French part of Morocco. And then, of course, like during the war, when things were not very restful there, they moved to Montreal because it's French speaking and whatnot. And so he decided when I was 6, my sister was 8, that we were going to drive across country from Los
Wow.
Angeles all the way to Montreal. So I don't know where this was. It may have been Arizona or New Mexico or something, but yeah, so there was some kind of little Flintstones place for kids to play in.
Hilarious.
So yeah, it was really cute. We were dressed like little, really Indians. This was the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It looks fake.
So cool.
So
It
crazy. There were
does look fake.
nothing to stop you from falling over,
Wow.
This was the 70s, things
Yeah.
were different then. I have
And
so many memories of that trip. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't remember too many specifics, but there's those bits and pieces. I remember driving through Texas and I remember my dad giving us the tagline, like everything's big in Texas. And sure enough, we drive through Texas. There is the biggest storm. I just remember as a child, like raindrops this big falling on the windshield of the car.
wow,
But it
that
was
is
fun.
so wild.
I saw more of the country at 6 years old than I have since then. I don't remember all of it, but we saw a lot. But I do remember the Grand Canyon because it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
And then this picture cracked me up.
Look.
So there
You
used
were
to be
wearing high, messy buns before it was cool.
right.
Look at you.
Thanks, Mom. So there used to be a van that would go into neighborhoods, and it was kind of a studio van. They'd have photography set up. They'd have like the whole thing, and we hated it. Every time we'd have to go in there, we'd like have a cry session first, and then try to take a good photo. But yeah, so this was from that. I don't remember how old I was. Probably like 3 or 4.
You're a beautiful baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then this
Aw.
one.
So I'll tell the story, and then you'll understand why this is pertinent. This was down in this is a hotel we used to go to in San Diego all the time. That was my dad's car, big muscle car. So the funny thing is, like the thing that a lot of people don't know until they get to know me is I have a muscle car. It's 500 horsepower. I love this thing. And I'm like, this was the origin of it. This is where it started.
Love
That's the
that.
car we drove cross country in. Can you imagine how many tickets my dad got? Orange car. A
Yeah.
lot. So anyways, I just thought it was funny that there was actually a picture of me sitting on the hood of that car, because I'm like, that actually that created a monster.
Oh my gosh. And if you went cross country in that car,
In that car. Yeah. Hilarious.
that
Fast too.
is crazy. And then this one I want to start with. So on the other spectrum, then you learned how to ski.
Yeah, that's my dad on the left, and my sister's behind me. He was teaching us how to ski. He used to pull us up by hand up a little hill, and then he'd, walk down with us. Kind of fun. So we learned how to ski early on, but it wasn't
Mhm.
always easy. That's what the other photo
Yeah,
is.
so
I
you
had
had your
fallen, and
first.
I was totally pouting there.
Aw, that's too cute. And then this last picture, this is your mom, right?
That's my mom. So I lost my mom in 2016. And that was a picture from the party after my graduation from chiropractic school. And
Oh,
I love that photo, and I just wanted to honor her by showing that photo. It was a
Yeah.
very happy moment for both of us. She really supported me through the whole thing. My mom, she got breast cancer, which was so shocking because she always was holistic, didn't take medication. It's like, how is this possible, right?
Yeah.
um but there's emotions, there's so many different factors to any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, she decided to go holistic in her, on her healing path, which was
wow.
very commendable. It's not an easy path when you're dealing with cancer, because you're dealing with a lot of fear and all kinds of things. And so, I mean, I knew I didn't know enough about cancer at the time to like be the biggest help, other than to support her and whatever and help her research things and be on the path with her. And so I did learn a lot. It was not an easy path, for certainly for her, but also, for just watching somebody you love so much
Yeah.
just struggle through that. It's such a disgusting condition. It's unbelievable. So
How long was that process?
about 9 years, and the last year she just got
Wow.
tired. It's a lot of work to
Yeah.
like juice and do all the things she had to do, and she got tired, and she finally said, you know what, I think I'm going to try the chemo. And that's what got her. It's the
Mm.
chemo.
Oh,
It made it go cuckoo.
wow.
She had like 2 spots in her liver that were being monitored that were tiny, never grew until she did the chemo. And she didn't even complete it. I think she did 3 out of like 8 doses or something like that. And she
Ugh.
just had to stop because she felt so sick. And suddenly, like the lesions in her liver had just blown up. It was horrible.
Wow.
An interesting journey.
Yeah.
I
Michelle, do you
God,
think that some of the things that we're learning about now would have made a difference in like do you think a lot of things that we're learning are valid, or are we still like getting fed a lot of stuff that just
in terms of what, like learning, are you
well,
talking
like the
about like ivermectin?
ivermectin, the
I
parasites, the
don't.
ivermectin,
Yeah, I
the
mean, she did all those cleanses. Like, she was pretty holistic. I, I, I I
like
think it was
stopping the
multi.
sugar that
Oh
would
well,
feed
she
the
totally, she totally did that. She absolutely did that. Um, I, it's such a complex condition because
Mm.
it's not. What I have really learned is, number one, it is not. Cancer is not like an external thing. Like you can say you have parasites, or I have a bacteria, or I have this. It's not. It's your own body's attempt at a different type of metabolism. It's responding perfectly. And this is where I like, for me, attitude around healing is like number one.
Yeah.
You can do all the right things and say all the wrong things in your head, and you're going to get terrible results. You can do
Mindset
all the
is
wrong
everything.
things and say the best things and trust and believe. So I've had
Yeah.
patients who had really aggressive breast cancer decide 1000% I'm going to go do I'm going to go do, radiation and chemo. And they had, really strong chemo, lost all their hair, the whole thing, but they had the most incredible positive outlook, and they healed. They made it through.
Yeah.
So I just, it's not one thing. I reject the idea that it's just one thing, because it's not. It's a
I also
complex of things. There's emotional stuff. There's the past that you hang on to. There's the conversation you have in your own head. And there's also what your connection is.
Yeah, that's why I sometimes I really question, like, going to the doctor all the time for these wellness, because then they're going to put an idea into your head that you have this. Like, are we better off if we don't even have that idea in our head to obsess on?
Yeah. So a diagnosis is especially a diagnosis in cancer is, more times than not a death sentence, because of what people have learned to understand cancer to be. And I think it's horrible. I think it's I bet you there's so many people that have had cancer and have gotten over it because they didn't know they had it. You
Mm.
know, they felt
We
off, so
Mhm.
they changed something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah.
know? They are now staging cancer at stage 0. Like, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does 0 mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's horrifying. So I always tell people to not, not try to diagnose something if they can't figure it out. Especially if things have been ruled out, terrible things have been ruled out. Like, don't seek the diagnosis. You're seeking a label. You're going to go research it on Google, and it's going to tell you awful things. And then you're going to have that in your psyche. Instead of saying, okay, my body has reached a level of dysfunction. I need to reorganize to, reclaim proper function in my body. And I think the people that go there, this is why I actually like the patient, like you were talking about, Melanie, like you kept getting patients that were, at the end of their rope. They are the perfect patient.
Yeah.
They are the most receptive, because if they haven't given up, they're desperate enough to come see you, and they're so receptive to like having a solution that they actually will follow everything you tell them to do. And they will also like soak in all the information and really do it. And more times than not, those are the people that heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I saw you wanted to add something, Melanie.
I am forgetting which country it was, but I remember back when we were in acupuncture school, we were they taught us about how there was a particular country. It's an Asian country. I keep wanting to say Japan, but I don't think it's Japan. They don't tell the patient when there's a positive cancer diagnosis. They tell the family. And the
then the family
family
holds
comes
that energy
together and supports them, and they help to support and make changes, but they don't tell the family. I mean, they don't tell the patient.
Mm-hmm. That's
one of the things.
Gosh, I
that's
wish I could
very
remember which country that was. And it's not a country-wide thing, but it was like cultures within the country
Yeah.
or whatever. But
That's really interesting. But there is an energetic about holding space in that mindset, because then everybody else's fear gets projected onto you and you don't even know it. So one of the things my mom did when she found out is she told my sister and I, and we were all very the same, very holistic, very spiritual. And the three of us decided that like it was important, because she right off the bat knew she wanted to pursue a holistic, path. And the first thing we decided was like, let's not, just like when you first get pregnant, you wait till you're at least 12 weeks to say anything, because you're already in your groove and whatever, you feel more confident that, of the path you're on. We decided collectively to not tell anybody else, to just keep it, because we were really positive and really sure she could be on this path and get where she wanted to go. And so we were holding space, a very powerful healing space for her, so that when she, was feeling fearful or whatever, we were not adding fear to it. We were adding hope and faith and belief. And I think it's really important to have that kind of support. And I think we're so indoctrinated with fear in every different direction. I mean, a flu. Oh my God, what can I take? Like, well, how about you just ride it out and trust your body? I think we have just become so afraid of everything that, fear. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Power versus Force. Do you know that book?
no.
It's a must read, a tremendous must read. It's basically delineates the levels of consciousness, and there's a distinct difference between the levels of consciousness that are in the area of force, which will always meet an opposing force. It will always have to have a match, versus power, which is other levels of consciousness that are much higher. And so fear is very low. Like if you look at what they did to us 9/11, fear and pride are very low consciousness. Pride feels better, it's above fear. But everyone was flying the flag, me included. I caught myself. I had already read that book and I caught myself during 9/11. And it's just you get caught up in these like mind viruses, like they tell you, and especially if you didn't know better back then. For example, you were watching the news and just consuming nonstop, like just the repetition of people jumping to their death from a building. And like, of course it's going to instill, it's traumatizing. So that trauma keeps you in this low level of consciousness. And so, I mean, it's really actually important to rise at the highest level of consciousness in order to bring the best results in your life.
Absolutely.
And you will attract from that place. You'll attract friends,
Yeah.
You'll attract relationships. You'll attract, like for me or anybody who's in practice or business, you'll attract people coming into your business that match that level of consciousness, and the results are always going to be amazing, beautiful. It doesn't mean that there aren't challenges in those, in those relationships or whatever, but it means at least your foundation is in a much higher place. So anyways,
Is that David
Yeah.
R. Hawkins?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, just for
Yeah.
the audience, Power versus Force by David
Yeah.
R. Hawkins.
You are
Incredible body
speaking my
work.
language right now, Michelle. I'm loving this. I
Me?
wanted to add something. Right. I wanted to add something to this, talking about jumping back just a little bit where you were talking about the frequency of fear and it keeping people stuck and maybe holding back from telling everybody what your diagnosis is and things like that. About a year ago, when I began the process of healing my nervous system, the limbic coach that I started working with gave me a very, very strict set of instructions for how we were going to go through this program. And one of the rules, and this was one of her primary rules, and at first when I heard it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I followed the rules and it helped. And what her rule was, you are not permitted going forward to talk about how you feel with others. Because what was happening is I was going, my Lyme, my Lyme, my Lyme, my Lyme, my pain, my pain, my pain. My husband, I would wake up in the morning, he'd be like, how are you feeling this morning? Oh, my back hurts so bad, all my joints. I was constantly in a state of being hyper focused on how I felt. And constantly, instead of telling everybody the story about how I felt. And it amplified everything. And so she said, from now on, you are not allowed to talk about how you feel. You're not allowed to focus or think about how you feel. If somebody says, how are you feeling? You say, I'm doing great. How are you? And it doesn't matter if it's bullshit in the moment. That's what you say. Or she said, like with your husband, you can set it. You can do like what did he say? It was like a safe word. If you're having a really rough day and you want him to know you're having a rough day, so that he handles things for you, have I think it was like pineapple or something. He'd be like, how you feeling? I'd be like, lots of pineapples today. But anyways, and then I would move on with the conversation. And the point is you are no longer reinforcing both with your frequency that Michelle was talking about, the energy that you are projecting out and broadcasting out into the world, which is going to get reflected back to you. And also in terms of the story you're telling your nervous system and how your nervous system is going to react and how that is going to then affect your immune system and all the other functionalities of your body. You're no longer telling your body the story of, I feel like crap. You stop that. And with that particular tool and the other tools that she had me doing, most of which were mindset, most of which were about altering my mindset every single moment of every single day. And this might be a good time to show that little video if you want to, Ellen, the video that I sent. Did you see that one?
No, shoot. I
It might,
didn't
if
see
you can't pull it up, it's down at the bottom of the list of the photos that I sent you. If you don't have to play it if you don't want, but
shoot.
it's
going.
focusing on joy, focusing on simple pleasures and shifting your mindset away from all the problems that you have. And I think that this also fits for the broader world that we are living in right now. And we're also hyper focused on everything that's happening all around us. And sort of my message for the last couple of weeks when I go on these shows is come up for air sometimes. Like right now we have a lot to celebrate. Like we're excited. This is fun right now. 2026 has been amazing so far, and we have a lot to celebrate, but there will for sure be moments coming soon in the future that are going to raise some questions. We're going to be confused about what's being done, or there's going to be moments of frustration or whatever. It's going to be intense. Come up for air. The plan is going to play out whether you're paying attention to it or not. Take a time out for your own well-being. Because the hyper...
Sorry,
yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was on the huddle.
Yeah, I heard you on the huddle. I love that.
Yes,
it was beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Because right now, especially for those of us who've been in this for so long, and a lot of us have, we've been at this for years and years and years. Give your nervous system a chance to calm down, or you're going to get burned out. And so that applies to the micro sense of your own world and your own healing body. The mindset that you choose and what you focus on is what you are going to get more of. So if you're constantly focused on how crappy you feel, that is going to get amplified. If you're constantly focused on all the scary things out in the world, that is what you're going to see more of. So what the video was, Ellen, was a clip from my podcast of me and Gina where I was talking about something that I have been doing for the last month or so, where I've been making these reels and putting them out on Facebook and Instagram and X and just putting this stuff out there that I call my daily reminders to look for the simple joys in your life. And it's just
Yes, I've
me
seen those.
having a moment where I'm just like, I just had this experience and it was amazing. And it started because it was me holding myself accountable as someone who is still in the midst of my own healing journey. I feel better than I have felt in a really, really, really long time, but I'm still making my way. And it was holding myself accountable to shift my focus and shift my mindset every single day to look for what I have to be grateful for, look for what I have to be joyful about. And what I realized in doing that is there's simple pleasures all around us all the time, every single day, that most of us it just goes right over our heads. Like my favorite one is the first sip of coffee in the morning. Like how
We talked about
freaking
this on the
blissful.
Conspiracy Therapist.
Yes.
We
How
talked
freaking
about that
blissful is
Yeah.
that sip? And how many of us just pour the cup of coffee, add
Oh,
your
no.
cream, take a sip, go off, brush your hair, brush your teeth, whatever. You're just like,
No.
we're
That
just
first
going
sip,
through it. Oh, you
That's
got to milk that moment.
that's the best in the morning.
And there are so many, I call it milking the moment. It's squeezing the juice out of these moments of pleasure and joy that most people don't even notice. Like walking
Right.
down the street, walking down the sidewalk, smell the freaking roses. Like I'm serious, literally, if you walk past someone's garden and there's a big, gorgeous rose, stick your face in it. I promise you won't regret it. And how many people just walk right by? So
That's right.
this has been something, and I love that Michele brought this. You essentially teed this all up because of what you were talking about in terms of frequency and attracting. If you want to attract change in your life, if you want to attract more joy, if you want to attract well-being, you have to change what it is that you're focused on.
Yes.
Change your conversation
And-
outward and inward.
100%.
The first thing I do when people start talking about if they have a condition is, number one, I don't let them say my. And I get that they have to explain things to me. I said, don't call it yours. Don't, because you're claiming ownership of it.
Yes.
That's the first thing, is disown it, not by rejecting it and pushing against it, because it will push back on you, but like accept it, but like don't be more disassociative to it. Like just call it the whatever it is. And the other thing I caught, and this was this was shocking to me, because my mom she never removed the tumor or anything, and one day she came in to see me, and she says, oh, this tumor is killing me. And I'm like, did you hear what you just said? And she goes, no, what? She had no idea. And I said, you just said the tumor's killing you. I said, please don't ever say that again. I said, it hurts. That's okay. You can say it hurts today.
Yeah.
But don't call it and don't, say it's killing you. Like, these words are so powerful. Like we have that in our vernacular, like, oh, it's killing me. My head's killing me. Like, no, it's not. So people come in as a chiropractor. I hear people coming in all the time. Like, if they have pain somewhere, it's like, oh, this is killing me. I correct every last one of them, and I tell them that story. I'm like, that's a really powerful thing you're saying. How about it's not that bad?
Do you know that's exactly, Michele, why I always, somebody had said this years ago, but I always have the problem with the phrase good morning.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, because you're mourning when you wake up. You're not mourning anything.
And by the way, I did want to tell Melanie, I thought of you this morning, Melanie, because I poured my first cup of coffee and I went to take a sip and my cream was bad.
Oh, well, that was less than ideal.
It just totally was like the rest of my morning just was, like I was just trying to get back on track, but I didn't have that taste of coffee. And I was like,
it's understandable.
I totally thought about that conversation we had. And then just a little bit more humor. because I did promise you I would tell you, because you're the one that told me about bears for ice cream. Ice cream for
Yes.
bears. Ice cream for bears.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Because I used to make my own. It's a pain in the butt, but I
It
wanted to use
is.
honey, not sugar. And then when you told
Yes.
me about that, I was in heaven.
What
And
is that?
so it's ice cream that has like 3 or 4 ingredients in it. It's
It's
cream,
like milk,
honey,
cream,
milk.
honey, and vanilla extract for
Yeah,
the
there's
vanilla
no
one.
emulsifiers.
Mhm.
There's none of that gum,
Mhm.
there's no crap in it, and it is so good.
Yeah.
And it's, Sprouts, I can get it at Sprouts, and also I found it at another grocery store here in North Carolina at Lowe's. So I'm happy. And by the way, I'm telling everybody on this podcast so that they can go find it and create more demand so that they increase the supply
Hell
and get it into
yeah.
more stores, because it's
Yeah.
really, really good and it's good for you. But the Chocternal, if you're a chocolate lover, like, oh, and the mint. I did try the mint. I
I
love
was
the
gonna ask
vanilla.
you how the mint was.
The mint's good. The mint's good.
Okay.
Very, very good. So I
Because you
just
can
had to
make a
get that in.
really
Hilarious.
you
I
you
was
can
like,
make a
"Melanie's
really
on. I gotta give her an update on the ice cream for bears."
you can make a really easy ice cream by using avocado. So you blend avocado with either coconut milk or regular cream or whatever, and
Leave it to the
put whatever flavor
Californian.
you want it. No, seriously. And then you just put it in a glass thing. You put it in for a couple hours, and you don't.
So
It's like it's
Never
Wow.
heard
unbelievable.
that.
avocado
It's
and milk?
like either. Well, I would use cream or coconut cream if you like coconut. If you don't want to do the dairy,
So it
and then you can
Yeah.
add like monk fruit if you want to sweeten it, or honey or whatever, and then put whatever you want in it.
avocado.
That's
Strawberries, whatever.
interesting.
It's really good.
Yeah, we have to have a show.
I have a huge like 3-story tall avocado tree, and sometimes I'm overwhelmed with avocados. I don't know what to do with them. So
Wow.
before they go bad, I just scoop them out and I do that and I stick it in the
That
freezer.
that was I
Lucky.
lived out in California briefly, and that was one of the things that I remember was how the one thing that was inexpensive in California was the avocados.
Weirdly, not anymore.
Oh,
What?
Yeah, they
And
grow
then-
like crazy.
and then the persimmons. The persimmons out there are amazing. I mean, we grew them in North Carolina. When we moved back from North Carolina from California after the persimmons out there, I came back and I planted a persimmons tree in my yard, and it took a couple
So
of
good.
years, but I have persimmons every year now. I have to
Aw,
fight the
nice.
squirrels.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to fight the
Isn't
squirrels.
that a simple joy? Isn't that a simple
Oh,
joy?
it
Yes.
is.
Taking a piece of fruit or snipping some herbs or something from your
Love
own
it.
garden and biting into it. Like that's one of mine. I grow all kinds of herbs, and I have a lemon tree that is super ripe right now, so I'm picking lemons off of it every day.
And you're like,
That
the
is an
only thing that's on
incredible
it,
joy.
yeah. You're like, the only thing that's on it is chemtrails. Yay.
Hopefully not anymore. Well, I have to ask you both, you both have that's why I knew it would be a gold having both of you on, because you
Oh
both
yeah.
have such similar philosophies and backgrounds with holistic backgrounds. So I'll ask you first, Melanie, did that lead into your your understanding of what's happening in the world, the lies and all that? I mean, did one lead to the other?
I would say it started with the nervous system dysregulation. It's why talking about mindset. I now regard the nervous system dysregulation as my superpower. In many ways, but especially because that hypervigilance leads to the pattern recognition and being
Mhm.
able to pick up on the things that don't match when I'm hearing words coming out of a politician's mouth, but the words don't match their energy, or the words don't
Yeah.
match what I'm picking up in terms of their body language. There's a mismatch, and I'm like I think of myself as like a human lie detector. Really, really hard to lie to. The exception is
Yeah.
narcissists because they believe their own lies. But
Yeah.
but it allowed me to build the skill set that allowed me to pick up on all of the lies, both in terms of geopolitics and in terms of the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry and everything and things that I was being taught. And then life circumstances led me into alternative medicine, but it was from that route that very early on in my career, I started picking up on lies in terms of vaccines. That was one of the first things that I
Mhm.
learned after I graduated was all of the problems with big pharma. It's amazing to me, Michelle, that you are not vaccinated at all. I don't think I've ever met an adult that isn't
Right.
vaccinated at all. My daughter, of course, is 100% not vaccinated, and she was born at home, and that was an incredible experience. But that life history and going through the traumas that I did set the stage for me to become as aware as I am today. And I
Yeah,
value that. Now, I
right.
value it. Something that I have had to learn along the way is I don't have to keep the trauma to keep the superpower that I learned from it. I can let
Yeah,
go of the old wounds, even though they served me in terms of the reference points that I now have and the skill set that I've
right.
developed, but I can let go of the story and I can let go of the wounds. I can let go of the trauma. I can release my body of all of it, but I get to keep the pattern recognition skills. I get to keep the research
Yes.
skills. I get to keep all of
I
that.
love it.
Yeah.
I love that so
Yeah.
much. I mean, that makes so much sense, and I love that. And I mean, literally, I can hear that coming out of Michelle's mouth too, because that's your whole philosophy of your practice, right?
Completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and the other thing I have to just harken back with Michelle is that it's amazing, everything we do, we never know how we're going to touch someone. So basically, this Belgian woman who talked to your mother just
Right.
happened to that day change the entire trajectory of all of your lives. How
Yeah, so
crazy
I
is
mean,
that?
I
Did
look at
did
that
she
as
have
divine.
wings? Did you notice whether she had wings?
Well, I was a fetus, so I just believe in divine crossings. Um
Absolutely.
and there's just no other explanation for it that because when COVID hit, it just became so evident why this had been my path. I mean, there have been multiple layers of awakening for me. COVID was just the final awakening to like the deeper patterns of what's been going on and how enormous it is. But um, yeah, but when it came to the medical stuff, and like I ended up being a chiropractor that doesn't just do chiropractic. I mean, I do emotional work, I do nutrition, like heavy duty, you know, nutrition with people, and everything I speak of is everything people are now just waking up to. And
Right.
so it's like it's just such a relief. Like even the chemtrails, I'm like, okay, I sound like a whack job, but have you looked up in the sky? It was funny because when I was looking for those photos for you today, I was like, it started occurring to me that a lot of the photos, there were these beautiful clouds in the background. I'm like, oh look, no freaking stripes in the sky. You know? Everyone thinks it's normal
Yeah.
because it's been going on for decades. But so it's so obviously like when I became aware of that in like 2001, and I started talking about it.
Wow.
And of course I had to be careful who I spoke to and whatnot. But yeah, there's definitely divine. This is why, like, when I can't understand what's happening, if there's like some major shift in my life and I don't understand what's happening now, I trust based on the past, my all the different things that have happened on my path. I trust that there's going to be something that I'm going to understand later.
Yeah.
And so now, especially like once I woke up to like the Q movement and all that and everything that's in there, I knew about the Illuminati thing. I learned that in the mid 90s. And I quickly had to close the book. I was given the book Behold a Pale Horse, Bill Cooper,
Hmm.
and
I
I
have that
read it and
behind
I
me.
was so insanely paranoid. There was no internet. I was so paranoid. Like, what do I do with this information? Like, So I
Were
closed
you
the book.
like worried every Thanksgiving morning as to whether they were going to come in and get you, like Bill
No.
Cooper said they planned?
Yeah, no. But I mean, it wasn't that kind of paranoia. It was just kind of like, oh my God, like everything that's happening is nefarious, and like it just leaves you with a bad feeling, and it's like you don't
Yeah,
feel like you can live your life normally. And
yeah.
so I had to close that book and try to find life again. And then when 9/11 happened, um, I knew exactly what was going on. It was obvious to me.
Wow.
I just went like that. Oh my God, this is exactly, now here comes the book. Let me bring it out again, you know? And so okay, but what do you do with that? Look what they did to us. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I was,
Right.
it was horrifying. And it was really interesting because when 9/11 happened, I was, you know, how could you not watch the news to try to
Right.
find out what was
Right.
going on? And then I got sucked into it. And I never was a news watcher, but I got sucked into watching it over and over again. And it was kind of the first year of my practice. And I remember, so I do muscle testing, which is actually very energetic.
Yeah.
And if you're, you know, if your circuits are blown, you can't muscle test people. You're completing a circuit with somebody energetically, and you can't, you're fried. Like there's no circuit happening. And I started noticing I couldn't muscle test, like within the first week of watching that crap.
Wow.
And I went, I know exactly what's happening. I go, that's it. I'm turning off this news. And now get this, I cracked open the book Power versus Force. Now, I
No.
just said, okay, I need a message from this book. And I cracked it open to the page because I was feeling really hopeless about, like, there's nothing I can do. I'm one person. Look what these evil doers, these evil people did to us. Like, what do? You're a sitting duck. You don't know when it's going to hit, right? So that's where everybody was sitting going, oh my God, it could happen anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I need to open Power versus Force. And one of the things he did in the book is, so there was that critical point, which is, so let me just explain real quick that he created a logarithmic scale to determine the levels of consciousness, where they sit in levels, like which one is above the other one or whatever. And he actually used muscle testing. This is so fascinating. He used muscle testing to do all the research in this book. And so every level
Wow.
of consciousness was determined through muscle testing. It's so fascinating.
Wow.
And so
I haven't read the book, but I know his chart. I have his
oh,
chart.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then it came from that. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah. So anything above the level of 200 is power. It's unopposed. It just exists like gravity does. Everything below is considered force, and it's met with an opposite, right? So in the book, he talks about each level of consciousness, like fear and pride and courage and, you know, love, unconditional love, all of that. And I cracked it open to a pretty high level of consciousness. I don't remember if it was 600 or even higher than that. And by the way, 1000 would be God, like pure enlightenment, right? And so in that, there was a blurb that said, I forget what this percentage was, but the smallest percentage of people in this level of consciousness were responsible for pulling all of collective consciousness above 200. And I went,
Wow.
oh my God,
Wow.
that's what I need to work on. That's how I can help. I have to continue to raise my consciousness and let go of the fear and let go of this pride. Like take the flag off. Yes, I love my country, but take the flag off your car because of what it represents right now. And I need to focus on the highest level of consciousness I can pull myself up into. And that's what I did.
Mhm.
And it completely changed everything for me. So
Yeah.
that was an awakening for me. And then I've never been political. I was like, la la la. It's just been BS because of 9/11. I mean, look at these people. This is what they're doing. They're all corrupt. They're all
Right.
trying to kill us. And I just went like, I can't deal with it. When it was Trump and Hillary against each other, I went, oh, forget it. Like, what kind of clown show are we in? I didn't listen to anything that it was being said. I didn't know what the issues were in the world. I was like, la la la, you know, I'm living my life. I'm trying to live the highest level of consciousness. I don't care about this stuff. And so I didn't pay attention to it in 2016. I didn't even vote for president. I voted everywhere else, but not for president because I didn't even know I couldn't, with good conscience, vote for anybody. 2020, when the COVID thing started coming out, I was like, okay, I'm not closing my practice. So I need to know what I'm dealing with. So I know that the news is a bunch of crap because of 9/11. And so I'm going to listen to the White House press briefing. So I turned that on, and I cringed because Trump was there talking, and I was like, ugh, what's he saying? Like, my first reaction to him was like, what am I listening to? But like when I got past the way that he talked, I went like, okay, that makes sense. You know, we're going to close the country and da da da. Like, okay, duh, that totally makes sense. And then I watched Fauci push him out of the way and completely contradict him. And I went, what just happened? And so I sat there and I go, okay, well, he's trying to do the right thing. The guy in charge who's supposed to know better is telling the wrong thing because I know what he was saying made no sense health-wise. And so I went, the one buzzword, which was so funny, and now I understand why Trump repeats and repeats and repeats himself. It's because somewhere down the line, everyone's going to hear it. So the buzzword fake news had made it to my ears, even though I never watched anything he spoken or anything. And I go, okay, what's this fake news thing? And so I turn on CNN and I went, my mind was blown. They completely lied about what he said. And they were against him, saying he's trying to kill people. I'm like, what? Next day, same thing. I just kept doing that. And so then I went, okay, I need to find out what the hell is going on in this world. And so I hit YouTube and very quickly found like X22. And I went, what's this Q thing? And figured that out, found my way to it. And I went, boom. I swear to God, if I got 3 hours of sleep every night, it would have been a miracle at that time. I was consuming madly, right? And so, yeah, so I've had varying degrees. I was primed for it. And I'm of the mindset and the belief that we all wake up when it's our time to be activated. And so the people that are still asleep, that a lot of people are angry at, I'm like, it's not their time to be activated yet.
Right.
Like,
right.
there's gonna be a subject that's gonna wake them up. And for me, there were varying ones, but the big blow up, wake up to what's really, all the depths of what's happening here was definitely COVID, because obviously health is, that's my wheelhouse, and never closed and never put that stupid shield up, didn't wear a mask. I'm like, screw this. And of course, I tried to talk everyone out of, getting the vaccine. Most people didn't, but I'm pretty sure a few did.
Yeah. No, but it's so incredible exactly what you all are saying. And I believe everything. I agree with everything. When you and I were on the phone the other night, Michelle, I said, I agree with everything. And I agree with all three of you on so much of everything. And I do believe that, and I don't have clear visions about things, but I had a really clear one the other night, and it showed people like us walking in our bubbles, and we were just doing nice things for people. We were smiling at them. We were just, our energy, it showed our energy, how it translated to other people, one person at a time. And that is part of also what we're doing. And we are, our frequency, we are helping the collective of, and I truly believe it. And that's all a part of this, and which allows people teeny bit by teeny bit to be able to be open to the truth of things.
Yeah.
Right, Melanie? I see you
Yes.
shaking your head.
I want to add one thing, because I love this conversation so much. So going back to the frequency scale that Michele talked about. All right, down at the bottom of the scale, and I'm gonna walk us through this, but I want everybody to think about the Great Awakening and this whole process of the plan, and how we are slowly waking people up, right? Bottom of the emotional frequency scale, way down low, is apathy. How many people for decades and decades in the country paid zero attention to politics? How many of us were completely disconnected, completely uninterested? I'm not into politics at all. I don't want to watch the news. I don't want to hear about any of it. Not interested. Apathy. A few points up from apathy, up the scale as we're moving in higher and higher states of consciousness and frequency, is fear. False flags, and perhaps even white hat operations to get people to move from apathy to fear. Higher than fear, a few points up from that, is anger. People get mad. They start to engage. They start to take action. They start to care and give a crap about what's going on. And what is up a few points higher than anger? Courage. And it
Yay.
goes up from there where we get to things like reason and love and joy and peace and enlightenment as we continue up the scale. But if people are in a state of anger right now, that is a higher vibrational frequency and a higher state of consciousness than apathy and fear.
Yeah.
That's a
So
really
it's
good point, Melanie.
uncomfortable
So you're
sometimes.
so the people that are because what they're doing right now is getting people really, really angry.
Mhm.
So you're in this. I love this. They're close to the courage, right?
We're getting there.
Or is that courage / crazy? Because it's sometimes.
Six
But
of one, half a dozen of the other.
yeah. But I think, but then
Saying
that's a good thing, right?
that I'm not saying that the consciousness scale, the emotional frequencies are that they have been considered and it's an intentional aspect of the Great Awakening. But it is the way the Great Awakening is unfolding.
Yeah, such
It
a good point.
is.
It is.
Mhm.
You really do have to do it step by step. You
Mhm.
don't really jump the steps. You
Yeah.
transit through it. Just
Yeah.
like healing from grief. It's
Grief.
the 5 stages of grief, right? It really does work that way. So it's a really good point, like to get
Can't shortcut it.
your finger on to kind of take a litmus test of what's out there. You can actually look at, well, what are people doing? They're out in the streets. They're like,
Yeah. Look at us
That's
here on
right.
this screen, having the courage to use our voice and put out content publicly. Like
Yeah.
2 years ago, I
Don't
wouldn't
forget to share.
Yes, like and share, hit the
Yeah.
button, positive affirmation. I wouldn't have done this 2 years ago.
oh heck no,
Agreed.
me
Yeah.
neither.
Agreed.
I
Yeah.
was barely ready to do it 1 year ago, you know?
I didn't even
But
want to show my face on a Zoom with friends.
Right. Look how far we've come.
But
I
we've
know,
got
right?
exactly, look how far we've come and how many other people out there that were previously completely apathetic and unengaged are making their way right now to the courage
Yes.
it takes to get engaged and take action and start talking to people.
Well,
Right.
and actually, this is going to sound like a shameless plug, but Ellen, the goal of Labor of Love was to started to get like the people behind the scenes that weren't like
Mhm.
everyday podcasters, but people that were still contributing to the movement
Yeah.
and that wanted to do something. And so we started out, our first show was the mods. And it
Yeah.
was, I don't know if I want to get on camera or not. And so they've done the leap. And
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a
that's
great
really,
show too.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was a really good. And we're gonna we're gonna have another show with the mods as well. We've got a couple more
Good.
sessions, ones that we want to bring on. And I think with them seeing some of the others coming on, it's giving them
Yeah.
a little bit more confidence to do it. So that's really cool to see.
It really
It
They
is.
do
is.
so much. They actually do so much because they create community within the chat.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
That's why we're
community,
trying to show them the love and how much we appreciate them, because the engagement is so important.
Yeah.
yeah, the community is how I got here. Like I created community from like a Badlands, I started with Badlands. I created, a Telegram, for the local area, made some amazing friends. From there, they invited Scott and Tim, and I met them and got invited to another Zoom and like met Mark through there and
I know. Then
got
you got
invited to
8-track
his
in your
show.
in your living room, and you can't get rid of them, right?
Right, exactly. So it's just so funny. I mean, you know what it is? It's funny because Melanie, before you were talking about something like come up for air. This is, I think, exactly what the black pill is about, is the people who are 100% like in it all the time and they don't take a break. And they don't
Yeah.
realize the stress level that they're putting themselves
Yes.
in. And what I found is when Trump got in this year, or last year, oh shoot, it's 2026. When he got in last
Crazy.
January, everybody exhaled. And I found a lot of people, like every Zoom I was in changed. The environment changed because people exhaled and they went, oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize how stressed out I was.
Yeah.
And now I'm finding what's really beautiful. I love this, and this is part of where we need to go, because we can't all be in these devices consuming information and disseminating all this information all the time. Like, yes, it's necessary, but we have to stop and live our lives. Like, people we forgot how
Yes.
to live life because it has changed. It changed since COVID, and it's changed in general if you even remove COVID from it, just because of politically everything that's been going on. And I think it's time to create your new pods, like really cherish and nurture relationships of all kinds and spend time in that, because we're human beings that are like, we actually are not meant to be solitary creatures. We actually need to be in community. And I think
Yeah.
creating community is the most powerful thing we can do now. And I have to say, like, all the hiccups that have been going on, like the disappointments or whatever, I haven't experienced, because I've been more in community in the last year or 2 years than before, when I was just consuming information, trying to, like, be in the know. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Right.
you know where
Right.
you
Yep.
stand, and it's important to, like, be on top of what's kind of happening, but, like, to just to be way too saturated in it, I think, is why people are
Yeah.
blackpilling,
And
because
I
it's not
think
Yeah.
happening
But
fast enough.
for at least our community, right? I don't know about you guys, it has never been more clear to me that we are well on our way to the right direction. Like we are
Yes.
rocketing forward in the direction we are all wanting to go. And that has never been more clear to me. I've never had stronger faith
yes.
in the plan.
Yeah.
Um, I don't feel like I need to be plugged in all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it
Right.
used to be that I felt fear for not knowing what was going on. I felt like I needed to have my finger on the pulse all the time. I talked about this on the
Me
huddle. I
too.
needed to have my finger on the pulse all the time, or I had anxiety because I didn't know what was going on. Well, now, first of all, I've let go of the need to know because I'm never
Yes.
going to know
Mhm.
for sure everything that's going on. We know a tiny sliver of what they want us to know.
Yeah.
Our community knows a little bit more than most, but we're never going to know the full thing. And I'm in peace with that. Like, I'm cool
Right.
with it. It's fine. And because of where we're at now and everything that we have watched unfold, all the things that we anticipated, all of the things that we have dug into and seen with clearer eyes, and we've got this front row seat to the Great Awakening, and it's all happening just swimmingly. It's not going to happen exactly how we think it's going to happen, but if you can come
Right.
to peace with that also, you can rest easy.
You can.
I don't feel like I need to be focused on it all the time anymore. I don't
No, it's
feel
not
like
healthy.
I need
It's
to
not healthy.
watch every single podcast every day. Like, I'm at this point, if
Right.
I'm being honest, ladies, I used to never miss a show of all of my favorite podcasters. If I watch like 2 to 3 a week now, that's where I'm at, and I'm totally
Yeah.
okay with it.
And I
Yeah.
think, I hear you too, Melanie, and I'm coming into that place too of never wanting to miss anything because we were trying to figure it out, and it's
Yeah.
like we're not meant to figure it out. The Q team, is like as much as we've got some really great decoders,
Yeah.
but I mean, I came to this, we thought, oh my God, the financial market's going to fall. There's going to be this big crash, and like, how are we going to handle that for the people around us that don't know what's going on? And it was that constant worry about that moment. And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine who is a Q person, and we were trying to talk about what to do with money. And, I'm like, well, I can't pull it out because I'm married to a normie. Like, and it was all that stress. And I'm like, wait a minute. What about the people that aren't watching this, that have no clue?
No
And I'm
idea.
like, the white hats aren't going to they aren't gonna do that
Right.
kind of a rug pull to them.
Yeah.
You're gonna have people jumping off
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And I'm
Right.
like, they're just not gonna do that. And
Yeah.
everything that the old Charlie Ward, those people back in those days that had
Yeah.
all of that can I say shit on our show?
Just say it. Just say
You
it.
know, they
It's
had
your
us all
show.
so feared about, it's like, no, it was like that was more of the black pill version of getting us all riled up and keeping that fear component. And it was like,
Mhm.
that's why they're doing this the way they're doing this, is
Yeah.
so that
Yes.
we aren't going to be, annihilated. They're not annihilating all of our systems. They're cleaning them up, and
Controlled
they're
That's right.
getting out.
demolition.
Yeah. And they're
Controlled
getting,
demolition.
Mhm.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, because I think they understand the psychological brainwashing and how powerful it has been in generations, and
Yeah.
how incredibly disruptive and devastating it would be if they did knock things over and everything happened at once. They understood that that couldn't happen.
Yeah.
And so what's cool is, while this was all going on, and this is what made me think of when you all were talking, so we were all in our phase of consuming, 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 right? But now we're in the divine timing of coming together with community and finding each
Mm.
other and finding those ways to come together right in time, in the perfect divine timing of when we're supposed to. We're supposed to have a sense of peace and community. We're supposed to understand what's real, because we are getting back to what's real. They just told us yesterday we're supposed to be eating real food, right? Not fake food. And so they started with that. And so we're going to connect in a real way again. We're going to get back to everything that's real. And it's the divine timing of us doing this and understanding and being peaceful about it couldn't be more perfectly timed
Yeah.
with what is happening.
So go eat your ice cream, everybody.
Well, and you just said it so perfectly, Ellen. And the only thing I could even add to that is, I believe that that's why folks like us have felt that divine guidance, that inner guidance, to start our shows when we did, because there was
Yeah.
a time where it was anon time. It was research time, it was digging time, it was get the information out to the people, wake the people
Right.
up. Well, now we're moving into the next phase, and the next phase requires healing. And so some of us very, very, some of us feel guided to have a show to promote and support others in their healing journeys. That's what my show is about. But community is healing.
I'm
So
so
Yes.
glad you said it.
your show is about bringing the people together and creating that warm, supportive, loving, inclusive environment where we can come together and lean on each other for the support that we need.
I'm
Mark's
glad you
show,
said that. Yeah.
The Huddle is another one. Like, and as every time I turn around, somebody else is popping up with another show, and it's not another digging show. It's not another news
Right.
show. It's the next phase of bringing the people together, supporting the healing process, and that's
That
where we're
is
at now, and
beautiful.
I love it.
That's beautiful that you said that, because I kept thinking I came into this too late.
No,
But you're right, that whole,
Timing.
your timing is perfection.
You have to trust
It's
the timing.
because I'm not a
There's
digger.
call.
There wasn't like, but I wanted to do something, and then
Tricia, for years,
Ellen put
as
us.
as a Badlander, I was at GART 1. I went to all of them. For years, I'm sitting there in the audience, and I'm meeting all of these beautiful, wonderful people. I'm making all of these connections, and I have the background that I have. And for years, I asked myself over and over and over again, what is my contribution to this community?
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know what it is. I want to contribute, but I don't know how, because I'm not them.
Right.
I'm not a digger either. I consume and I spread. I find what resonates and I
Yes.
amplify
Yes.
and I support. But
I felt like a lurker.
but I wanted to contribute, not just to humanity as a whole, which I do, but I wanted specifically to contribute to our community. And I kept asking, what is it though? What is it? It's not what they're doing. And I don't want to have a show about the news. That's not me. And I just kept asking the question, and I just kept opening up to the divine inspiration that when the time is right, I'm going to know. It's just going to be information that is
Yep.
given to me. And wouldn't you know it, at the right time, I got invited onto the Huddle.
Yeah.
And then I got invited onto this show, and I got invited onto that show. And that process gave me the courage to then start my own show.
Melanie, that's exactly because Ellen and I were invited on the Huddle together, and that's how we
Yes.
met with
Yes.
with Michele.
I
And
know,
Thank
which is
you.
so crazy.
Yes. So shout out to Mark.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for
for
sure.
being a
Very much.
facilitator in greater ways than he even knows about. We should clip this and send it to him.
Yeah.
We should.
Yes,
Mark, you're the
most
best.
I love it.
definitely. Thank you, Mark. We'll clip this for sure. Well,
And we do hope
this
you feel
has
better.
been yes,
Yeah,
a
he's
lot of
definitely
people
under
get
the
the
weather.
flu. Well,
Thank you, Mark.
this has been as wonderful as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, I think we need to also have a part 2 as time
Too.
goes on,
Sure.
because with everything happening, and you both are just remarkable with so much information. I mean, it's just amazing to hear your thoughts and your understanding and your intelligence about so much. So thank you both for
Your
being
energy.
with us.
Beautiful energy. It's such beautiful
Yeah.
energy.
Thank
So
you,
Both of
guys.
you.
Such an
It's an
honor.
honor. It's an absolute honor to be here. I'm so glad we got to hang out too, Michelle. Like, holy
Yes.
crap, I resonate with you so much. When are we going to meet in person? Are you guys
I
coming to
know.
Threadfest?
I'm not sure yet.
My
I got a
daughter's
lot of,
giving
I want to
my
so
daughter's yeah, my daughter's giving birth that week, I think. So I don't
Oh,
think I
Oh,
can
yeah,
go,
that's
but
a little more important.
yeah.
Yeah.
yes, but it would
But
be
there will
fun.
come a
And I
time where
know
we
there's
all get to just like,
I know
yeah,
that's coming. That's coming.
yeah,
Even if we don't,
yeah,
get to make it there, there's going to be more events, and
yeah.
Yeah, for
that's
yes,
what
sure.
I said on another show was like I can't wait to like this is awesome, but that moment of the physical,
yep,
I got to do a guard, I got to do the Great Awakening
Uh-huh.
tour in Selma, and that just really was like, man, we got to do more in person stuff because it's just so
Yeah.
powerful. There's just
It's
it
nothing like
coming.
it.
is. It is coming.
Yeah.
Woo! I'm just so
Yes.
excited. So thank you all so much for a beautiful, beautiful time together. It was just such a joy, and you both are just so wonderful. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
so
It's an
much. It's
absolute
such an honor
pleasure.
to be on this show.
Hang
Absolutely.
on
Love you
afterwards,
guys.
guys. Yeah, hang on afterwards, guys.
Okay.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.